Keith Pompey from the Philadelphia Inquirer, witnessing a change of events here, Keith, right? I mean, all of a sudden, you almost go into these games thinking, hey, we got a shot.
Yeah, you do. You do think that. I mean, they're playing well. I mean, they're playing well. There's a lot of excitement. You go in the locker room now, the guys aren't, everyone seems to be more at ease, more relaxed, more focused in on the job that they have to do.
Yeah, and you tweeted yesterday, shorthanded Sixers. I mean, this is a game that in years past, if they were missing a guy or two, there's no shot. I mean, they were able to do it without some key rotational guys, and I guess that is part of the step of, hey, they're coming together as a team, both starters and bench, and they're starting to get a little depth.
You're exactly right. I mean, and let's not get it twisted. They do play a whole lot better when Joel Embiid is there. But at the same time, I think that, in the past, at least, during this streak, it was one of those things when, Nerlens Noel or TJ McConnell didn't play, you would say to yourself, like, wow, they're losing a lot, like you said, as far as role players. But, right about now, I mean, it's hard to question and doubt what they're doing.
Keith Pompey from the Philadelphia Inquirer. So what they are doing is winning basketball games. Brett Brown has said throughout the season they're also experimenting. So what in your mind is the experimenting between Okafor and Noel these days? I mean, are they still in this? They're in an interesting spot because they're winning with Noel. Okafor played well, but it seems that when Embiid's back, there's still no spot for him. So where do they go from here?
I mean, where do they go? I mean, I think nothing's changed in that regard. I mean, you look at Noel, you see Noel, he's can be a valuable piece, moving forward. But the Sixers have to decide what do they want to do. I mean, they have to decide if he's someone that they want to re-sign. I mean, right now he's going to become a restricted free agent if they offer him a tender. A qualifying offer. So if that happens, they'll have to decide to say, like, is this a guy that we want to throw some money at or match what other teams throw at? And in regards to Okafor, it's like, I mean, it's no secret that, they're shopping him and Noel, basically. So, and when they saying experimenting, I mean, Brett Brown means experimenting with different lineups to see if they mesh. But at the same time, you have to think and you have to say that they're showcasing, Okafor and Noel to see what they can get for them.
Yeah, it would seem that way. Now, Noel seems like he has said a lot of the right things. Okafor, too, by the way. But, his deal is up at the end of this year. Do you see a scenario where he would want to remain, knowing you would have to assume, Keith, right, that his limits would even be more limited once Embiid gets a more expanded, less minute restriction or even no minute restriction?
You talking about Noel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all depends on, like, what's out there on the market. You know what I mean? Because, you would think teams will come after him, but at the same time, you never know. Just because they'll say, well, look, you didn't play as many minutes as we thought you would. You may not get the max deal. You may not get what you want. Whereas the Sixers may say to him, hey, we have a lot of money. But at the same time, I think that, with him, like again, yeah, maybe he may not play as many minutes as he has, but I think that they have enough confidence in him to give him some legitimate minutes. You know what I mean? Like, he's the type of guy that he can be the backup center, but also if you want to go to a tall lineup, I'm not saying a starting lineup, but if you want to go to him and Embiid, playing together, that will work out, more so than Embiid and Okafor working. So, yeah, again, I mean, it's up to him. It's up to them. I mean, it's up to him to just probably going to decide what he wants to do. But I think that there's more room for Noel long-term than it would be Okafor.
Now, Okafor, he got the opportunity to showcase himself against Washington, and he put up some big numbers, and then he came in as a reserve the other night and had a nice game. So, are the Sixers do they do themselves a disservice by not getting him minutes, or is he getting enough exposure that they will get calls?
I mean, you're saying if they, people know what they have in them. I mean, you have to try to win games too. It's one of those things where people know what Okafor can do. So, and they also know, like, if you go out there, if you're playing him a lot, and teams are knowing, okay, they're playing him a lot because they're shopping him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, like, the Sixers have to decide what they want. That's the bottom line. Do you want to go ahead and showcase players, or do you want to go out there and you want to try to win games? You know what I mean? Because let's face it, you see the games. Okafor played well yesterday. He did. But there was a stretch where Noel and Embiid looked like a better pairing than Okafor and Embiid. So, it's up to what they want to do. Now, he did get to showcase himself, the last game. He did look good. He did showcase himself against Washington. He did look good in the previous game as well. But, it's like, do you think if they're trying to win games long term that you want Okafor instead of Noel? So that's just the thing that they have to decide what they want to do. You know what I mean? It's a bizarre situation. It won't get better until one of the two is gone. Let's just face it. It's been around. It's been the elephant in the room for the longest.
All that, and they're playing good basketball. What's happening? Why are they playing much better basketball? I think that's evident, right? You've been there throughout the whole thing. They're playing probably the best stretch of basketball you've seen in 4 years.
It's probably the best stretch. Here's the one thing, and Brett Brown talked about this today. Yes, they are playing great basketball, but there were stretches before when they played good basketball too. But then next thing you know, they would trade somebody. Somebody would go down to the D-League who, basically should have stayed up. So there was always certain things that they couldn't control. But right now, for an extended period of time, for like 8 games, I must say that this has been the best stretch. Now, the reason why they're playing is because you have Joel Embiid. I think you have Noel coming off the bench, providing him, a depth at that position. T.J. McConnell is a winner. You can say what you want about him. I'm not saying that he's going to be an all-star point guard or if he's a starting point guard in this league in regards to, like, moving forward long term. But he is a winner. He gets the guys the ball where they need to be. So I kind of think that they also have Gerald Henderson playing well coming off the bench. So I just think that right now they got the right mesh of guys. And I know this might sound a little bit overblown, but they like each other. So they play hard for one another. And I think that has a reason to do with the reason why they're winning.
Which is ironic, Keith, because so many felt that the damage done with all the losing would just have a toxic effect inside that locker room.
Yeah, but you know what? The damage done with all that losing, there's only 2 guys who've been here through the duration. Well, actually one. Nerlens Noel, he didn't play his rookie year, right? And then they made a trade for Robert Covington early the next season. Most of these guys are new. Mm-hmm. Like, they haven't experienced it. Embiid, you could say he was here, but he wasn't playing. Dario, they acquired him in the draft, but at the same time, he was overseas. Ersan wasn't here. T.J. McConnell and Nick Stauskas were here last year. So really, this is a completely different crew. The only thing that's similar is, like, they play for the Sixers. Heck, half of them don't even have the same old Sixers uniform when they first started. So it's like, this is a completely different group.
Keith Pompey for the Philadelphia Inquirer. So, is it sustainable? Is this just a good stretch through 10 games, or do you anticipate that this is a sustainable team throughout? They're going to add Simmons at some point, you would assume. Is this team sustainable till the end of the year? Can they win their fair share of games?
We'll find out a lot going towards the end of this month. Because nothing against them. Now they beat a couple Eastern Conference playoff teams. These are teams whose record was hovering a little bit above 500, right? But they beat them. They beat 2 out of 3. But towards the rest of the month, at the rest of the month, they have the Raptors coming to town tomorrow. They'll play the Clippers. They'll play the Hawks again. So they're going to start playing better teams. So that's going to be a true test. Now, again, we can't get it twisted. Yes, this is a great run for them, a great stretch, but they're still a couple seasons away. So, are they going to keep winning at this rate for the rest of the season? No. But, we'll have a better idea, at the end, once we go into February.
All right. Tomorrow night, they take on the Toronto Raptors. Do you remember the last time they beat the Raptors?
Nah.
It seems like every night. It's. Do you remember the last time they beat this team or that one? It was Milwaukee 9 straight times. I don't know the answer to that Raptors question, by the way. Charlotte was a while, and they'll try to do it tomorrow night against the Raptors. You can hear the game right here on 97.3.
Now,
Keith?
They lost to the Raptors 14 straight times.
14 straight. So
14, yeah.
How about that? 14 straight against Toronto. They'll try to snap that tomorrow night here on 97.3. Embiid, probable. I know he didn't practice. He had rest and illness today. TJ looks like he's out. Looks like Noel will play. So Embiid makes a big difference. That's for sure, right? My, oh, my.
Yeah, he does.
Holy mackerel. All right, Keith, enjoyed it, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, Mike. Bye-bye.